My name is June Vining, and I am the CEO Executive Director of the Trauma Intervention Program. TIP is a nonprofit organization of specially trained citizen volunteers that respond to citizens in crisis. So we are called out by emergency responders, police, fire, the medical examiner, hospitals, businesses, schools, to go on scene and provide immediate emotional and practical support to people when something bad has happened. Most of the time that means that somebody's died. Our whole point is people shouldn't be left alone, so it's a lot of providing support and emotion. Now, as the days went on, the next day, needing some practical support like names of funeral homes so they could start comparing prices and picking where to go, and family arriving and helping them know how to support, and mostly words to say and what not to say, because people just want to fix it. And in that grief and bereavement, there's nothing to fix. A lot of people ask me how I got involved in this, and I'm married to a homicide detective, and by the time baby number 3 was born, I had already been home after baby number 2 for several years, and I saw an article in the newspaper about this volunteer opportunity, this great program that was coming to town. And I ended up going into the training, and it just worked for me. And I know how long I've been here because that little baby I carried in my arms is now 30 years old, and 2 babies of her own and another one on the way. So I took the training, and it filled that need of giving back to the community and being involved. And about 10 years into the program, my family suffered their own crisis and trauma when our 17, almost 18-year-old son died by suicide. Going through all of the disbelief and the grief, the extreme grief and unknowns after Nick's death, I remember just thinking, can I do this anymore? Should I do this? And in reflecting of that, I remembered so many conversations with Nick about how proud he was of me and what I did. And in that common question, what I was reminded of, when kids are asked, what do your parents do? It's pretty easy to say, my dad's a cop. But when they asked him what his mom did, his words were, my mom is a professional best friend, and she teaches other people how to be a good friend. And at that point, I knew that I was doing what I was supposed to do. I think another big situation or question or issue that comes up when we talk about death, or when a death has happened, especially if it's not prearranged, final arrangements, is the cost of final expenses. People are surprised at how much it costs to all the things that you have to do when somebody dies.
My name is Jordan Birkeland, and I recently lost my father. I lost my father, Marvin Birkeland, on March 17th, 2022. It was Thursday, March 17th, and I had gone to school, and I got a call that my dad was found unresponsive in the bathroom. My little brother called 911. The paramedics were performing CPR on him. And so I hurried home, and about halfway home, I got a text from my other brother saying that he had died. They said he died of natural causes, likely a heart attack. Luckily, Multnomah County has a volunteer service called TIP, Trauma Intervention Program, and 2 women came and sat with us and helped guided us through. It was surprising how many things needed a death certificate, and you have to pay for each death certificate. And certain avenues, like the bank, needs short form, and then other organizations need the long form, so you need to know how many you need to buy, and it's just all feels like so tedious. We have the obituary, and various like receipts for things. Just all the things that go into it. $150 to get death certificates, to get things like moved around. The $175 cardboard. That just throws me for a loop. That's nuts. Just the cost of the cremation itself was over $2,000, including a cardboard casket, which blew my mind. Of course, that included the cost of transporting the body, which that alone was also surprising, that we have to pay to get the body removed from the house.
So, oh my God, it's just like that. After you get the death certificates, that you spend like a week and a half just filling out forms, and it's so frustrating. You know what I mean? But you do it, and then you start reaping a little bit of the benefits, because we did get the free flag, we did get the veterans death benefit, because Social Security only pays $255.
It's, you know, it's very difficult, and it's very time consuming to get all the information that you need. So just stay with it, you know, and contact either the Veterans Administration or whatever administration you need to work with Social Security, and make sure that you're not missing out on any of the benefits that you're entitled to, because it is a difficult time that you're going through, and you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of everything that's available to assist you.
My dad was an interesting guy. He was just a goofy guy. He loved making jokes, and he loved, back in the day, before his COPD and before his retirement, he did love being outside. And that was one thing we bonded over. We bonded over a love for animals. He would take me hiking, and we'd look for snakes and like bunnies, and we would catch snakes together. We used to catch like baby garter snakes and little salamanders. I loved hunting for, like, not hunting, I loved looking for salamanders in the river and little newts and frogs. And those are my favorite memories.
Honoring your dead is expensive. Like, I just keep coming back to this. Your obituary, the pleasure of letting other people know and putting ink on paper for somebody that's precious to you, and writing something that actually isn't just like, they went to high school here, they had this job, they served this in the army. Like, writing something meaningful is excessively expensive. And that's for one newspaper. And I don't know, it just, you like to think that, like, you know, you're honoring your beloved human by keeping their story alive, but there's something tactile about like an actual obituary that's just not a picture and a couple words, and it was wildly expensive considering. I think that for Phyllis it cost about $900, and that was to be in our local newspaper. And then for Hal, we put into a couple because he was in the military and moved all over and had a bunch of buds, so I think that ended up costing a couple thousand. Phyllis died in January 8th, if I remember correctly, and then Hal died right after her birthday in June. She lingered in a at-home hospice coma for, I think, about 6 days, which is an eternity when you don't know what you're doing. And so when she did finally pass away, we were all kind of just gobsmacked, because it felt like that was just the new way our lives were going to be. And so when she did pass away around 6 in the morning, we kind of, the three of us, her husband, my husband at the time, and me, all just kind of sat there like, what do I do with my hands? And then the funeral home, of all people, were the people that kind of gave us a path forward. They came and picked her up, and we had to go there and kind of plan what to do from there, and they told us how many death certificates they think we needed. At that point, it was kind of on us to decide to do an obituary, which we did, and my husband at the time, great writer, agonized over it, wrote a great obit. But we didn't know what it would cost. It was insane. Like, to do anything other than a picture was hundreds of dollars. We're not rich people. And then at the funeral home, when they're telling us you need 5 copies of a death certificate, I'm like, this doesn't even, well, why? It's like it's like $100 a piece. Okay, well, we'll do it. But we didn't really understand what to do next. Luckily, Hal was a veteran, and that whole system is actually kind of set up pretty organized. And like, when you let them know that a veteran or a spouse died, they kind of give you a path forward in a sense. But as far as like finding all of her random life insurance policies, what to do with their bank accounts, it took forever to even just figure out what we needed to figure out. Like, there was no way to like make a plan, because we had to make a plan to figure out how to make a plan. I do remember that Hal decided, her husband decided that she needed a bonkers casket, which is hilarious. It's going in the ground. It was rose gold. That's adorable. And I think that was about $5,000. The plot, like a garden that we put her in, was already paid for because wife a veteran, and he was going to be buried. I think they did directly on top of each other. Wild. So I think that all told, it was about probably just under $10,000. All the wonderful things your parents want for you, they can just go away in a heartbeat when they die. Because they died. Because of the process of them dying. You can lose a good marriage. You can lose your sense of self, where you want to go from here. Everything it doesn't just pause, it just changes. You want the best for your kids, and you try so hard to give them that, and your death shouldn't interrupt that or change that or make their trajectory bonkers. Or there are things you can do, and I feel like my parents have gone to great lengths to make sure that when they do pass, chances are, and I've told them this, and I'm happy to do it, now that I've got experience, I'll be there. I'll be there giving you meds, making sure the hummingbirds are fed. We'll watch Downton Abbey. We'll do what we have to do, but don't make me be a part of your estate. Don't make me the person that's in charge. I don't want a POA, a power of attorney for anything. Just let me grieve you in an honest way and not have to like be on the hook emotionally, physically, all that, because that sucked. I guess my thing is, anything that is available, take advantage of it. It's there because you paid for it. If you didn't pay for it, it's there because it's goddamn necessary. If you have a resource, take advantage of it. If you're not, you're selling yourself short, and we don't live in a country where you can get that on the economy. So take advantage of it. It's free. And more than free, it's impactful. And more than impactful, it is a better legacy for your parents.
I'm going home to live with God. All my troubles will be over.